Thanks for joining us today for the You World Order podcast showcase. I'm really excited for today's episode. I am joined here with Rena Cohen. She is a behavior change coach with the Sanctuary program and a registered dietitian with over 17 years experience. So she knows what she's talking about, people. And Rena, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and so excited to be chatting with you today.
I am
So,
too. And I'm just going to give you the platform. And I want you to tell us your story and to where you got to here, where you came from, everything about you. This is a show about what you're doing. And I can't wait to get this conversation started.
awesome. I have like so much to share, and let me go back to, it's crazy that I've been doing this for almost 18 years now. I graduated when my daughter was born and now she's turning 18. So it's like crazy that I've been doing this for so long. But as you said, I've been a registered dietitian now for, almost 18 years. And I've worked on and off in terms of helping people lose weight, doing the typical dietitian stuff, nutritional counseling, nutrition education. I've also spent some time working in the hospitals and doing a lot of clinical work. And when it came time to developing my program, so all along it was like people are so eager and so ready to lose weight, and it's something that they really struggle with, figuring out how to implement the basic, nutrition principles that sound really simple. Eat more of this, eat less of this, stay in a calorie deficit. It sounds really simple, but what they were struggling with and what I was struggling with was how to implement these changes. There's so many people who come to me on calls when I speak to them and say, Rena, like, I don't get it. I know exactly what I need to do. And every day I say, I'm going to start and I'm going to change and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do what I need to do. And lo and behold, the week goes by and I can't implement those changes. Like, what's wrong with me? And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with anybody. There's human nature that comes into play. But at the same time, I was like, how can I figure out how to better serve women, specifically my clients that are coming to me for help and support? Because it's a huge struggle. And what they then resort to very, very often is quick fixes, diets that offer a very kind of like, you want to see results, you get results really quickly, but there's no way that you can maintain and sustain those very restrictive practices. So yes, you can, go and drink celery smoothies for 2 weeks and you'll probably lose weight. But the second you eat regular normal food again, everything's going to change. And then the frustration sinks in again because it's like, I don't understand what's wrong with me. There's something wrong with my body. And so as timing had it, and I decided I moved away from private practice and nutrition coaching for a couple of years while I worked in the hospital. And just before COVID, at a great time as well, I was like, I am going to further my learning and really gain an understanding of what it is that women specifically need to change their lives. And a lot of this learning happened on my own, from my own personal experience. There were things about my physical appearance that I was like not super happy with. I thankfully have 4 lovely, healthy children, but all those pregnancies take a toll on your body, and trying to lose the lose the baby weight to get back to your pre-pregnancy weight, and then each time you hang on to a little 5 or 10 pounds more, and it's like, okay, like, hello, I have 20-30 pounds to come off, and it's not coming off. And as after I had my fourth, I was like, okay, here I am, a registered dietitian. I myself don't feel like my body is reflecting all the nutrition that I'm putting into it, all the time I'm spending in the gym. Like, this was something I'm like, I need to make this my mission to figure this out for myself and then for others. And I took courses. I challenged myself with a bunch of different things, different foods, trying different things, kind of really figuring out kind of what it was that the female or the woman body really needs to be able to change the way they look at food, and then change the way their body responds to that intake of food. And with some courses, I took behavior change courses to really understand the mindset shifts that are necessary to be able to incorporate these changes and stick with them. And through all of that learning and through all of that understanding of really, stuff that I find fascinating, most people don't, the biochemistry, metabolism, all of that stuff, and really getting to the nitty gritty was like, okay, I'm putting this into practice into what I've developed as my sanctuary. The sanctuary is a 12-week transformation program. The beauty of this program is that it gives everyone these specific action steps that are necessary to create the change in the short term. So in the short term, the goal is to lose weight 100%. That will happen. But then also how to understand what their body needs to be able to maintain that weight change in the long term. And so that's what's different from the work that I do and different than most diets, for example. Women find it, I mean, relatively easy or simple to follow a diet because there's very specific rules. Okay, so I can't go out to eat. I cannot drink alcohol. I can't have carbs. I can stay within those very tight boundaries for like a very short period of time. At the beginning, they think, yeah, I can live my life this way. This is fine. I've had people come to me say, you know what, I'm following this very specific diet and we're invited out for, a dinner party, but I'm just going to bring my own food. Like that's just how I'm going to stick to the rules. And again, that works really well in the short term, but it's not sustainable. And that's not something that you're eventually, because of the psychology of the brain and the mind and how that works, any kind of like very severe or rapid change is a threat to your sense of self. So it's like you decide one day, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week and I'm going to cut out flour, I'm going to cut out sugar. And your subconscious mind, the insides of your body and your being, all of a sudden get like, oh my gosh, we need to protect ourselves. This is not going to be safe. Something is happening and this is not where we want to go. And eventually it's going to make you become very difficult to continue following those actions because that's its way of protecting itself. And so the once I was able to understand that and how the mind and how the body works both combined together, like from a metabolic perspective and a psychology's perspective, to really understand those changes, is the way to go about doing things is not with that drastic all of a sudden overhaul of everything that you do. I'm cleaning out all the kitchen cupboards and I'm throwing away everything. But it's really about these small, simple action steps. So it's really understanding what are the key simple. Weight loss is not easy by any means. Like I tell people, it's not an easy process, but we can make it simple. And in order to make it simple is that I've broken down the tasks that women specifically need to focus on. It's not about doing more. It's not about working out harder. It's not about restricting yourselves more. It's about focusing on the tasks that are going to be your biggest levers of change and implementing those as habit changes. And by being able to do that, and the way I do that is in a slow and steady state. So we focus on 2 to 3 very doable habits each and every week of the program. Simple things. And like I said, they might not be easy, but simple. So maybe let's work on incorporating some more protein with your breakfast. That is a very simple action step. And then we would come up with, okay, how can we implement that? Because that's the key that's missing in so many other programs and so many other diets, is that understanding from what it is that you need to do and the implementation to get there. So it's focusing on that and focusing on the ability to understand how to implement habits within your lifestyle. And as we do that slowly and slowly build on that, over the course of 12 weeks, we've just implemented 25 to 30 new habits that are unique to you. So, you're understanding, okay, I need to follow these habits, and this is the path that I want to continue on, which is why 12 weeks it's not a diet. It's an investment in yourself to change your lifestyle and understand how can I live a more balanced, a more healthy lifestyle that I can see myself doing over the next 20, 30 years. And working with women to create that change. I mean, I have many women come to me in their 40s and 50s who have been struggling with their weight for 30 or 40 years. And it's like the struggle has been real for so long that once they're able to, it's not necessarily like break free from that struggle and understand why it's been a struggle. It's like this sense of freedom, this sense of liberation from the constraints of constantly thinking about what can I eat? Oh, I have to eat the smallest amount possible. Then I have to stick to little morsels of food because otherwise I'm going to gain weight. The fear of like of eating actual food, and this is not indulging in sweets and desserts. It's actual food, but that fear that has been built up for so long, and being able to reverse that and finally understand like what constitutes a balanced diet for you specifically, because every person is unique and I work with each person on a customized plan, provides this sense of freedom, of liberation, and a newfound enjoyment for other parts of your life because you're no longer held back by food and the limitations of food. So I have women who come to me and be like, I've stopped going out to parties, or I've stopped going out with friends for dinner because I wasn't able to control and have the discipline and the willpower needed to say no to alcohol or say no for dessert. And as we reframe things and understand how to balance that and how to incorporate social events and life events and weekends within your lifestyle, it's like the ability to live your life again opens up these amazingly new possibilities that, like, I mean, people like, and I love it. And I'm happy that I've created this. People can't thank me enough. It's like, not only have you changed the way my physical body looks, but you've changed the way I see food, the way I can kind of, plan for my life, the way my partner sees me, the way, the energy that I have with my kids. Like, I would come home from work, women specifically who are working full time, come home from work, and, my kids are there, and we have this double loaded responsibility in the workforce and at home. But without fueling your body properly with the right nutrition, your body is drained of energy, drained of physical energy, drained of mental energy, drained of emotional energy, because we're taking on too much. And nutrition is one piece of that. And I focus on the nutrition and understanding, the right balance of each food for each individual person, how much food, the types of foods, the quantities of food, and then also focusing on some of the other lifestyle factors that can then be involved together with the food to really make you feel the best way possible. And these changes are phenomenal. Like, it's been even more than I've imagined. And I knew for myself because I saw the changes within myself at a physical, emotional, and overall kind of, like deep rooted level. But being able to coach others and assist them to be able to create this change in themselves is amazing. It's been wonderful. And I've been doing this, the specific sanctuary program, for the last 3 years. And I can say, like, each and every month I learn something new about myself, and the ability to see others change is amazing. And it's like, I'm excited to kind of like bring it to others in the world, because it's like the struggle takes such a toll on who you are as a person, and then who you are to the people around you. And the more we can limit and reduce I call it the noise that comes from not understanding what your body needs, and the food and fuel sources that your body needs at so many levels, slowly that noise level goes down. And when I ask women for feedback, be like, what is it that you think that changed so much about you? They're like, I don't even know. I can't pinpoint it, but they're like, but I know I feel so much better. And it's subtle. And one of my clients recently gave me an example. She's like, normally mornings are so chaotic, like between kids getting to school and making lunches and packing bags and running out the door. She's like, the mornings are so chaotic. And, there was one morning my husband took my car keys and I didn't have the car. She's like, and 2 months ago, I would have completely lost it, like blown up and gone crazy. And this is, oh my gosh, you've ruined my day. I'm going to be late for work. And I would have huffed into work so stressed and so anxious, and not being able to kind of contain myself and feeling like, so, antsy all day. And she's like, and my reaction was totally different. It was like, okay, cool. How can we make this work differently? So you have my car keys. And she's like, and like she said she was surprised at herself to be able to see that difference in her reaction. But the understanding of yourself and what you need to do extends to so many different parts of your being. I wasn't surprised to hear this story. She was super surprised, but it's just like bringing an overall like down regulation to your whole body by reducing different hormones, different elements of your nervous system is all part of what I work on to help create this change. And a huge, huge part of that comes from nutrition. Huge part of that. 80% of this change and any kind of change with your physical body comes from nutrition. But it's your body learns and your body won't disappoint you. So by giving your body the right types of input coming from nutrition, coming from stress management skills, coming from lifestyle changes, coming from mindset shifts, your body will, like I said, not let you down. Your body will respond in a way being like, okay, we're safe. This is a great place for us. And that feedback loop that you then create extends to all these different parts of your body. So it's honestly, as we work on that weight loss that women have been struggling with for 20, 30 years happens almost by default. Their body is in such a state that it's primed to lose weight. And it's like, it's shocking because weight, 20 pounds that have been struggling to come off, we're chipping away 1 to 2 pounds per week. I don't expect even more. I actually don't want more than that because then we can't be assured that that's fat loss. You can lose water weight really quickly. I want to focus in on fat loss and really make sure we're targeting fat within your body that's been resistance, that's been sitting there in belly fat specifically for women. And a lot of that comes from all the lifestyle management techniques, including adequate nutrition and proper fuel for your body, for your physical body to look and feel completely different over the course of the program. I can go on and on about this for so long because it's
I love this
amazing.
particularly, obviously, as a woman, I can resonate. And, any of the women listeners can resonate as well. I for sure can say that very, very confidently. And I think what really connects with me is, every word you were saying, I was like, yeah. And you probably saw me because we're looking at each other while we're talking right now. So every time you were saying something, I was like, yeah. And I can relate. I think at some level, we're all on our different journeys and we all have our different paths and we all have our different struggles and we all have our different reasons why maybe we gain weight and can't lose weight and struggle. But the fact of the matter is, I think that most people can relate on some level to everything that you just said. And I love the dichotomy of the physical and the mental because I myself, and I've been in the fitness world, and we talked about this a little bit earlier when we were chatting, that, I'm a personal trainer. I am an athlete. I've been an athlete since I'm young and I continued into my adult life, obviously more limitations as we get older. But I know, and you said it, you're like, I know what to do. I know exactly what I could do. Why can't I do it? And sometimes we get in our own way. Do you find that, especially nowadays, the difficulty with the clients that come to you and say, like, I feel like I know what I need to do, but there's so much information out there. There's so many different people saying different things. And yes, if I do ABC program, I can lose an enormous amount of weight, which is great because we're human beings and human beings innately want instant gratification on every level of life, not just with weight loss. It's everything, right? I think you get it
Yeah.
right. And so that's appetizing. And that's, okay, that's what I want. But then understanding what you had said, which is very powerful, is the sustainability. And to be able to, yes, maybe I need to lose a large amount of weight, but I also really want it to stay off. And that up and down is so mentally exhausting. Do you find that a lot of clients come to you and are like, I feel like I know what to do, but this person says I should do this, and that person says I should do that, and that person says I should do this? Like, how can you be comfortable with path to go down?
100%. And I do hear that lots. Like that's actually a really good question and an important part of why I've done what I have done with this program, because I find more so now than before. There's so much nutrition information out there. Every influencer on Instagram is like, try these, some kind of like apple cider vinegar gummies. Try this. If you only try this, your life will change and your body, your waist will just all of a sudden shrink in. You'll get that beautiful hourglass figure that you always wanted. Everyone is a self-proclaimed expert, especially when it comes to nutrition. And I find that I was, 5 years ago, I was in everyone the same shoes. Here I was, okay, let me navigate and figure out. Let me pretend I'm not a professional. I know everything about nutrition and about macronutrients and all of that, but if I'm, newbie into the world of sort of figuring out, here I am, I want to understand what's going to effectively change my body the most, and, try to look through some of the stuff and the stuff that's out there on social media. And I did a bit of evaluation on that. I'm like, okay, let me understand this from a deep rooted sort of physiology perspective, a metabolic perspective. I'm like, nothing about that makes sense. And there's a couple things that are really important. Number one, there's never going to be one specific thing, only thing that if you do this one thing, you are going to see results in all areas. It's not magical like that. And I think, like you said, it's the marketing, the interest in sort of very quick fixes. And so people then see, okay, but the end result is not, so they promise you'll be down, 5 pounds in 2 weeks. Yes, the scale will probably come down 5 pounds in 2 weeks. But what is that? The scale is also, it's, how your body is resisting gravity. That's one number. So if you lose a ton of fluid and a ton of water and you've really limited your carbohydrate intake and your fat cells shrink slightly, your scale weight is going to come down. But yes, okay, so I've achieved my goal. Yes, like I've really won, but you haven't, because there's so many other factors that are then you have zero energy. You feel like you've been like starving yourself all week. So moving away from, yes, the end result is weight loss and you want that number on the scale to come down, but there's so very many ways to go about doing that. And that's the differentiation between understanding kind of these quick fixes and how to prevent, sort of, as you said, the yo-yo dieting. The yo-yo dieting is not only super frustrating, it really takes a huge toll on your metabolism and your metabolic rate. And we as women hear so much about, my metabolism is broken, I just can't do this. There's not necessarily like, there is some truth to that, in the sense of like the constant weight fluctuations will take a toll on your metabolism, and it will. And so a big part of my program is, number one, understanding how can we fire up your metabolism again. If you're a woman coming to me with a history of dieting for the last 30 years, we're going to have to do some repair on building back your metabolism and figuring out how can we improve this. And honestly, the things that may have worked for you in your 20s are no longer going to work for you when you're in your 40s, because your body is in a very different place and hormones are in a very different place. So people tell me that all the time, like, oh, all my tricks and all my usual stuff that used to work for me, or that I could get my weight back down after my last child, I don't know, I'm trying them and they're just not working. And your body is, number one, very smart. So it's already adapted to those changes. So it's like, nope, we know what's happening here and we're not going to go for it. So we're not going to we're not going to respond to this change anymore. Plus, it's the difference in your body from a 20 or 25-year-old to a 40 and 45-year-old. A lot of those changes are no longer going to work for you. And we have to work to figure out, well, then what is your body going to respond to be able to adjust and see the changes that you're hoping for, and not just kind of go by default, oh, my body is broken, I don't know what else to do. Because I mean, the literature actually shows us that women, I know when I turned 40, many of my friends and colleagues were like, Rena, just wait. Like you're going to see the weight's going to come on. It just magically, the second you turn 40, everything changes. And soon after that, I think it was about 2 years ago, a study came out where they followed people's metabolism, children, men, women, over the course of their lifetime. It was a really long kind of longitudinal study that they looked at. And surprisingly enough, what they found out was that women's metabolic rate does not change until at least the age of 60. So there's a steady increase up until from childhood to about teenage years. It's kind of increasing steadily until around the age of 20, where it stays relatively stable. There are a bunch of things that we can do, and that includes nutrition, strength training, different workouts, different types of fuel, to be able to improve your metabolic rate. And your metabolic rate is that the baseline measurement of what your body burns at rest to keep all your systems going. That continues kind of relatively steady beyond the age of 40, beyond the age of 50. At the age of 60, they started to see very slight declines in the metabolic rate. And that was actually an adaptive mechanism. Because if you think about it, a woman at the age of 60 started to slow down a little bit. Hopefully, they're still moving, walking, doing some light resistance training. But it's an adaptive mechanism to prevent their body from burning too much and then utilizing some of their own body stores. So it's like, okay, again, the body is so smart. Like the way it's been created is so phenomenal and so smart. It's like, okay, now we know that things are going to start slowing down. We're going to be moving less at the age of 60. Very often people's appetite declines a little bit, so they eat a little bit less. So the body knows, okay, at that stage in life, your body doesn't know when you turn 60, but based on all the other chemical signals and hormonal signals that it's getting, it knows, let's downregulate a little bit so that we can protect ourselves and prevent ourselves from, like burning too many calories and then becoming frail. And especially for women, you want to protect your muscle mass, your bone mass as you go beyond the age of 60, doing whatever you can to be able to ensure that you don't have brittle bones, you don't have fractures. If you fall, you don't just automatically break a hip, because all of that is your body's way, again, of protecting itself and ensuring that you can improve and increase your health and longevity. So it's a long-winded answer to your question, but yeah, yo-yo dieting is a huge struggle. And again, that's part of the perspective and the mindset shift, is that focusing on so many other wins, which I do in my program, other than the scale. The fixation on the scale, and it's the easiest, simplest thing. It's a quick thing. I get on the scale, numbers down, great. I'm going to have an amazing day. Today's going to be the most wonderful day. I get on the scale, the numbers up. I'm such a failure. What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? And it's like that defining who you are and what your day is going to be like by a number then sets you up for, like, forget it. I'm done with this diet. This diet isn't working. I've gained 2 pounds today. When you understand what factors influence the scale, and that's what I go through my program as well, how kind of, if you've had a poor night's sleep, for example, the scale is going to be up because your body's hanging on to fluid as a result of cortisol, and there's increased stress, your scale is going to be up. But if you're on a very restrictive diet and you're either all in or all out, you're like, I'm done. This isn't working. I'm over. I can't do anything. I'm just a failure at everything. I suck at everything that I do. And my life is just, I can't change this anymore. And so when we focus on that shifting in perspective, and I focus on wins, other wins, what are things that you can be, you are thankful for today? And I have my women, my clients, start a gratitude diary. What are 3 things that you're thankful for today? And it's that rewiring of your brain and giving, again, that stimulus to your brain to focus on even simple positive things. You know what? Today it's raining. It's the first day that it's sunny here. Sorry, it's sunny. It's been raining the last 3 days. I'm so thankful that it's sunny. And the mere fact of registering that positive thought in your brain on a consistent basis changes the wiring of your brain and changes your ability to see yourself differently, as well as food and people in your lives and stress factors and all of that. And that is a longer term process. And like you said, many people are afraid of that. And I won't work with everybody. If someone's coming to me and say, I need to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 weeks because my child's getting married, like that's not the work that I do. And so it's that shift in perspective, being like, yes, I am finally ready to take this on for the long term, because it's the long-term result that it's like, and we focus on that. Where do you want to be in 12 weeks? How do you see yourself in 12 weeks? And the effort in the short term, yes, it may involve a little bit more than a quick fix, but if you go for some of those quick fixes, you will be back. I guarantee you'll be back in the same spot versus trying something different and really investing in it for the long term. Compare 12 weeks, you will be at a much better place 12 weeks ahead than had you tried 3 or 4 quick fixes in 12 weeks and still been back to where you were, where you started. So it's again, that shift in mindset and really understanding I'm finally ready to make this change, because I know that in 10, 20, 30 years from now, I no longer want to be suffering and struggling with these same issues.
Yeah, I love that connection with the long term, with other aspects of your life, because we as a society, as women, we connect our physical bodies and the way that we feel to so many things in our lives. And you're right. It would set off the day a certain way. That's why I personally try not to get on the scale, because I just, I try to just live one day at a time and try and just make good choices. But we all get in those positions, and we all have, events to go to, and we all have, I have 3 teenagers. So it's very, very difficult when 3 teenagers are okay to live on chips and cookies and chocolate and cereal and, microwavable things and all things that are, quick and easy. And I try to make good meals, but it's difficult, the way society is, the way family set up, working, putting that. So it's like, do I have the time? Do you find that a lot of your clients are struggling with some sort of deeper issue that's preventing them from creating these habits, which then in turn is possibly creating weight gain?
Yes, yes, they are. And that's a really important piece too. So before I didn't go back far enough in my schooling. Before my degree in food and nutrition, I have a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. So I have a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology and a Bachelor of Applied Science in Food and Nutrition. The combination of those 2 degrees, I actually never thought that I would be using both of them. I did my Bachelor's of Science because it was like a very general degree, and I figured I'd be able to use that kind of going forward into a master's or something else. And then I came across the field of nutrition. I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. And as I started delving more into behavior change and understanding the psychology behind things and the reasons why we do things and the behaviors that we, engage in, I was like, oh, psychology and food and nutrition, it's all part of the same thing. So 100%. And a big piece of where many people struggle is a lot of the ease and access to certain food items are a way to perhaps repress or avoid feeling certain aspects of themselves or of their day that they don't like the way it feels. There's feelings are there. We label them as positive or negative, but there's certain feelings that oh, something, I feel something and I don't like what it feels like. And then, you know what? But if I go and sit down in a big bowl of popcorn in front of the TV and I watch Netflix, that kind of starts to feel better. And so we think that that's part of self-care or however we're going to call it. But again, the more I've kind of understood how this works and how your body responds to things, is that there is this, perhaps it was a feeling of stress or sadness or some kind of feeling that got repressed. And it's not like, over long periods of time, but it's maybe you felt a little bit nervous about a presentation at work the next day. So I'm going to make myself feel better and I'm going to have some chocolate. And it feels a little bit better. But how about instead of having chocolate or using something to further push that feeling down below within you, we actually feel that feeling and you explore that feeling. What am I so stressed about? What am I nervous about my presentation? Really explore that. I would have my women, do journaling about specific things in their lives that are causing them stress. That ability to actually feel that feeling and understand that feeling and then release that feeling in a very positive and kind of like effective way is also so freeing, So it's like, yes, women have, I as well have built up years of feelings, thoughts, even coming from childhood, of stuff that, have been repressed very low beneath our subconscious level. And they've been repressed and they keep getting repressed because we don't like to feel those feelings and we don't want to explore those feelings. But the difference between like further repressing some of those feelings and the reasons behind why we can't make changes is going to continue to hold you back to be unable to make changes versus actually bringing those feelings up. Okay, let me explore and understand and try to understand. You may not understand, but let me just explore and feel this stress. Let me feel this sadness and be like, what does this sadness remind you of? And sometimes it's sadness of, I had one client who was a male actually, and he remembers being a child and going back like in his, maybe he was like an early teen, like 10 to 14 years old, and being away at summer camp. And like that was the time in the evenings he felt lonely because he was homesick and he was away at camp and he felt lonely. And his parents packed him, like all parents do, a whole snack box full of snacks and full of stuff. And he's like, and every night I would sit on my bed and cry and eat my snacks because I felt lonely and I missed my home and I missed my family and I missed my parents. And he never, ever associated that feeling with his feeling now, where after dinner time, he's like, I don't know why I can't stop myself from going to the kitchen. And I just like, I try and I may do it for one night, but then the next day I'm just like, it's like the kitchen is like magnetizing me in. Like I can't stay away from those evening snacks. And like I said, okay, let's explore that a little bit. Let's kind of see where that's coming from. How old is the version of you that's going to the kitchen every single night to get a snack? And he's like, I don't know, I'm like 12. Okay, how was that 12-year-old version of you feeling? He's like, and that's when the story came up that he was this 12-year-old lonely kid at camp. He was unhappy. He was super homesick. And his parents sent him to camp and he would eat snacks every night. And that habit stuck with him. So his, again, brain and body connection was like, when you're feeling sad and when you're feeling lonely, snacks are going to pick you up and they're going to make you feel a little bit better. And he was like, I never put that all together. And so he was like, I don't understand why I can't not go to the kitchen and not have a snack. Realizing the connection between what that every time he went to the kitchen for a snack, that feeling of sadness and feeling of loneliness was getting further pushed and further repressed down into the subconscious level. So analyzing it and really looking at these feelings and like becoming friends with these feelings is a huge part of the process. It's okay to feel sadness. We've labeled sadness as negative. It might not feel good, but it's okay to feel these feelings. And when you feel these feelings and then fully understand them and bring them up to the surface and release them, yes, that feeling is this huge freedom. And then it's way less of a struggle to want to do and change habits because you understand what needs to be done to change them and no longer kind of keep feeding into them, like literally and figuratively. It might not even be with food, but whatever tactic that you have to kind of repress that feeling, the more you do it, the harder it is to going to change that habit and do something that you want to do so badly, but you just can't do it.
Yeah.
So there's a huge psychological component to behavior change and understanding where that's coming from, the subconscious level, and tapping into that. And not everybody's at like, such a deep level. Like it doesn't have to be that, but it's actually, which is different, looking at the feeling. It's like analyzing it from all angles, which is different than what very many people are used to, but it's also super rewarding and life-changing. The information that you learn about yourself is incredibly amazing.
Yeah, I truly believe that and it's fascinating, the connection with the mind and the body. And it's really, really great that you've connected the two from your experience and your education, to create a space for people to find answers and to kind of maybe conquer some things that have been going on inside of them, to create a positive road that they can, a positive path that they can now go down. How can people get in touch with you? Because I feel like so many people that are listening can resonate with what you're doing and what you're saying today.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a couple, I'm on social media. So I am on Instagram at the Sanctuary RD. All my information is on my website. So that's a really easy place to get in touch with me. People can email me. You can find my application to book a free assessment call to understand if the sanctuary would be a good fit for you. And my website is www.sanctuarycoaching.ca. So it's ca, not com, which is a common mistake because I'm in Canada. So it's www.sanctuarycoaching.ca. All the information is there. Links to all my socials are there. Links to my application and to email me. Even if you have questions, I love answering questions. I just love hearing where people are struggling, really understanding kind of helps me better suit my group of people, my community, by understanding what are the specific struggles that you need. So any questions, email me. You can send me a DM on Instagram, and I would be more than happy to explain and go into any more detail of anything that we chatted about today.
I love it. And I think that everybody who's listening right now needs to get in touch with Rena because, I, for one, can resonate and connect with everything that we discussed today. So I know that that's a majority, if not all, on some level. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been absolutely fascinating learning the scientific part of it. And it's a nice change to just these marketing kind of programs that are out there. And it's refreshing. So I really appreciate you coming on today.
Me too. I'm so happy that you had me here, and I loved our conversation as well. So nice to chat.
Great. Thank you so much.